In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. It's a Monday night here on Untethered Live. I'm your host, Jake Johnson. I'll be with you for the hour. We're going to do some Bible study tonight. I hope everybody had a great Christmas. How's the weather where you're at? It's freezing here. I've got a jacket on. That's how cold it is. Cold. Inside, I got a jacket on inside. That's how cold it is. I got the heat on too. Cold. I'm sure it's colder in other places, but it's pretty cold here for a guy from North Carolina. It should be snowing outside. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, I hope you had a good Christmas. I hope everything went well. I hope you were with family. I hope you got all the presents you wanted. I hope you gave all the presents you wanted. I hope you ate way too much and regretted it the next day. I hope football was good. I hope everything was happy. Nobody got in any fights at the table. No politics or religion or sports were brought up. You know, and everybody went to bed with a buzz, happy. That's all you can ask for, right? That's what we work for all year, so that we can go to bed one day a year, happy, knowing that everybody's satisfied, knowing that everybody's comfortable, and usually drunk. Yeah, you know, maybe not. I don't know how your household runs. Mine, there was always somebody drunk in it. Today's show is brought to you today by a hot cup of coffee and the letter M and the number 4 or something. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I'm lost. I got started late. Hit the wrong button and started my intro before my countdown. Got the half of the intro cut off for the recording. I'm not even going to bother to fix it. I'm just going to put it out like that. It'll just start in the middle. That's fine. What matters is what comes next. The read. That's what matters. The good stuff, I've got it. So, happy. I'm happy. Oh, Lord, it's a Monday and it feels like a Monday. But I did get one good thing accomplished today. Remember me telling you about all those shirts that I had to do? Like 3,200 shirts or something like that. Or 3,200 prints. It was 800 shirts. We had to do them 4 times or whatever that is. 8, 16, whatever. I don't even care to count it. It was a lot. We finished today. Right at 5 o'clock. Finished right at 5 o'clock. So that was a good, long, hard week and a half. Working on Christmas and all that good stuff. Should be off right now, but we're going to work until Wednesday. Because we got 250 more shirts to do right after that. But those will be much easier than the last ones. See, the last ones we did were jerseys. They're printed on the inside and the outside. So when they come hot off the press, you got to flip them inside out and then run them back and do it again. Fun. I don't think I have any fingerprints left. I think I burned them all off. Pardon. I found a bone in that one. Anyway. Yeah, when them shirts come off of that machine, they are hot. Hot. Like touching the eye of a stove or something. A little less than that, but they're not red hot, but they're hot enough that if you linger, they'll burn you. Hey, MVTV, what's up, buddy? Good evening. It got awful hot in here all of a sudden. It's been freezing cold. I guess the heat finally kicked in. I've only been home for a couple of hours. I've been running the heat. And it's been so cold in here, I ain't been able to stand it. As soon as I start podcasting, obviously, it gets too hot. I have to turn the heat off. Well, we got 3 people here. If we get one more, we'll get started. How was your Christmas MVTV? How did things go for you? Did you have a good time? Are you staying warm? All is well, I hope. I know y'all have had Arctic weather up there. I saw a headline that said we were entering into a mini ice age. And I thought, boy, there is no end to the level you people will go for a clickbait. There's no mini ice age happening. It's winter time. Jesus. It's like you've never felt cold before. And basking in unusually high temperatures after the storm. It's nice. Yeah. It went from 16 degrees this morning to 40 degrees this afternoon. Like a night and day jump. Went from 16 to 40, just like that. I was indoors, so maybe I didn't feel the temperature rise so quickly, but it felt like it was night and day, you know. But that's just how it goes around here. Welcome to winter on Earth, minus 37. Now pushing the 50s. That's good. Maybe some of that snow will melt and you'll be able to get around a little better. It's cold here obviously it's a different kind of cold. When you get into minus temperatures, that cold is real dry. So it's more tolerable at lower temperatures. I know that because when I went to North Dakota, it was cold, like deathly cold, like you would die if you were out there. But it didn't feel that cold until you were in it for a minute, and then it would cut you to the bone, you know. But here, it's like 16 degrees, and it's cutting you all the way down. I mean, right away, it's a wet cold. Hey, there's April. Good to see you, sweetheart. Welcome to the show. It's kind of cold. It stays on you. By the time I got to work this morning, my fingers were burning so bad from the cold, you know, going through my gloves. It took me like 30 minutes to get my hands warmed up enough that I could actually move my fingers and work. Yep, the whole dry heat thing works for cold too. That's right. Absolute difference. Hi, April. Yeah, there is a difference. I'm not suggesting that it's no less cold. It's just a different kind of cold. It feels different. It attacks you differently. The heat thing, like in Arizona, you could be in 120 degrees heat and not even feel hot. You could be having a heat stroke and not even be sweating, you know. There's that kind of heat. Because it attacks you differently. Whereas in Florida, it's 80 degrees, but you can't breathe and you're pouring sweat because of all the humidity. I know it's colder inside than out. Brr. It can be. If you don't have good insulation, it can be. Or if you have good insulation, it can be. It gets cold in here and it stays cold in here. Yeah. Had 5 ringneck pheasants scratching in the yard with about 30 of their harem. They looked fine. I never went outside. I don't blame you. I wouldn't go out either if it was that cold. I know what you mean. I sneeze if I'm cold to the point of every 5 minutes. If you get a certain amount of cold, you sneeze every 5 minutes. Is that what you're saying? I got you, I think. Anyway, it's a good day. It's been a good day. It's nice out. Everybody's frolicking and moving along. Christmas didn't bring the world to a screeching halt. Nobody died that I know of. I'm sure they did somewhere, but we're not gonna dwell on that. We're entering a mini ice age, according to some news channel somewhere. Morons. But I guess the global warming thing isn't working for them, so they got to switch it up. I saw a T-shirt on a girl last week. Some girl in D.C. somewhere, had a T-shirt on that said 124 days left, or 1,024 days left. And I was like, if you really believe that, would you be wearing your T-shirt and broadcasting yourself all over D.C., or would you be digging a hole somewhere trying to survive? I don't think you believe that. If Obama believed it, if Obama believed that in 12 years the oceans would rise 400 feet and swallow up New York and all that, he wouldn't have bought oceanfront property in Martha's Vineyard recently. A big piece of property. Donald Trump wouldn't own Mar-a-Lago. He'd move to the mountains. Think about it. Just think about it for a minute before you swallow all the stuff that the world is trying to shove down your throat. Just think about it for a minute. That's all I'm saying. Who am I to disagree with the science? Obviously, I don't know anything. It's not like I'm intelligent at any stretch of the imagination. So don't ever listen to me. But if it were me, I'd think about it for a minute. Well, if global warming is going to destroy the world and we've only got 10 years left, why are we in Washington arguing about it? Why aren't you on the first train to the highest point in the world to build your little cabin and try to survive? Because that's what I'd be doing if I thought that was real. I would let you have it. You got it, D.C. It's yours. The world's over. We got 12 years left. That's just about enough time for me to accumulate everything I need to live through the apocalypse. Let's get out of here. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. What do you think? Interesting. Oh, I missed something. The coming ice age was the big thing in the 70s. I remember that. Pinheads. Interesting at the time, at April. Now the most peace and quiet I've ever had. Yeah, I do remember that in the 70s when they were talking about the ice age, that was before they decided the world was on fire. Oh, by the way, Devin went hunting with Sarah's son last night. Why? I don't know, but he got a deer, and I was sad and didn't want to hear any more about it. If I'm starving, that's one thing. You dig? That's just me. I've ... gone soft. Yes, you have. I would be proud of my son for getting a deer. That means he's learning how to live off the land. He's learning how to use his skills as a man to provide food for the family. That's a beautiful thing. I get why you're sad about the death of the deer, but be grateful your son cares enough about the world to get his own food with his own hands. That's beautiful. Be proud of that. I would be. Don't go soft, honey. The world needs you to be tough. He even skinned it, too. That's excellent. So he's learning how to butcher. He's learning how to produce the meat. Not just kill it, but make it so that it's edible. That's beautiful. That's a skill that will come in handy in his life, I promise. Yeah, I'm not a hunter. I had to boot off 2 trespassers. One reason why I have the pheasants. Different if I were starving, though. Well, see, here's the problem with that way of thinking. And it's I don't disagree with you. I understand where you're coming from. But try and see it from my perspective. If you were starving, you're going to die because you haven't developed the skills to hunt. You have no idea what to do. And while the panic of hunger sets in, you're not going to be able to think of what to do. Unless you already know, unless it's second nature, unless you can get out there and find some food now and provide for your family. If you got starving children, it's too late. That's why you hunt. Now, I'm a proponent of hunting once a year and killing one animal and eating that animal. I don't condone sports hunting. I don't think that's good at all, and I don't think it's very sporty. That being said, you don't eat the head, so if you want to mount the head, that's fine with me. But don't kill more than you can eat, but it's a good skill to keep sharp, because when you're hungry, it's too late to sharpen that skill. You get where I'm coming from? April says, I already know what I got to do. Exactly, MVT. And it was Christmas. Oh, I can skin and gut just fine if necessary. If that's true, it's because you've already developed those skills. Which agrees with what I said about her son. Just saying, I'm way ahead of you there. Well, that's good. You're not way ahead of me because I kill deer every year, but it's good that you know how. It's good that you have that skill set. You don't have to practice it every year, but it's good to not let it get too rusty because there will come a time in this world where you'll need that skill. I believe that. I might be wrong, but I believe that it's possible. Yes, Grandpa and my uncles used to go out for hogging, and we had to sit there and watch them being watch them getting the hog, so I'm all about it. Okay? Well, watching and doing are not the same thing. It's good to know how to parse meat, how to take the skin off, what to and what not to cut, where to and where not to cut, those sort of things. You only need to do that a couple times, though, and you'll have it down. I agree with your point. Half the people would stare at a shot grouse or shotgun and would starve by the time they get it defeathered. Shot grouse. What is a shot grouse? I know what a grouse is. Is a shot grouse a certain type of grouse? Yes, you know we do, Jake. It's in our nature. If we have to hunt. We will learn early. Good. I don't like the bloodthirsty dickheads. I ain't crazy about them either. People get way too into hunting, and I understand your point there, and I agree with you there. Like I said, when I go hunting, I only kill one deer, and I fill my freezer, and I eat every bit of it. And if I don't eat it, I give it to somebody who does need it. But I eat most of it because I believe in eating what I kill, and I believe in being respectful to the land. I never kill anything that hasn't already bred. You know, I make sure that the population around me is in good health, that there's plenty of young bucks to carry on the seed. I get what's necessary. Culling is a good thing because if you think about it, deer usually die horrible, horrible deaths. They either freeze to death or torn to pieces by some other animal, or they're shot and the hunter misses and they go limping out in the woods with a bullet in their leg or something and then eventually die. So a good clean shot to the back of the head is actually humane. It's actually good for them. And then also, when a deer dies, the female deer begin to produce. So it's good for the population too. So actually hunting actually makes the deer population bigger. It's better for the overall, because deer were put here to be hunted. That's what their purpose is. Think about what good a deer does. You can't use them to plow. You can't ride them. You can't train them. They're not good pets. They're here to be eaten. That's what the Bible says. That's why they're put here. So they're built in with this ability to, when they sense the death of one of their animals, one of their partners, somebody in their brood, the females start going into estrus and they start producing eggs, and then they get fertile, and then they have twice as many babies as they normally would to make up for the loss of the male figure, however that works. Coyotes do it too. There's actually an interesting podcast by a guy named, I believe his name is Dan Brown. You can look him up. Joe Rogan talks about him all the time. He has a book about coyotes. And there's an interesting podcast about that. You should look into it. It's very fascinating what coyotes do. Yes, I'll be like Simba, says April. So you have a Disney mind. I got you. Yep, he just went to Mayo bond with his stepson. Well, that's good. Well, that's important, too. A rite of passage is important for a young man, and so is bonding with an elder. Those are all good things. I haven't heard you say anything he's done wrong yet, unless he got all camoed up and sprayed deer urine on his boots and went out shooting everything that moves. I think he did a good thing. Yeah, they do change their tune when people start shooting at them. That's true. I went on the squirrel hunt, man up thing as a kid. I could find none. Dickhead uncle saw the nest up in the trees and suggested just blasting the nests. I refused. That's too much, and I agree. There might be babies in that nest. Or at the very least, that should be like home base. If you make it to the nest, you survive. I believe in a fair hunting ground. I don't like tree stands. I believe in getting out there with them, and that way they've got a fighting chance. If they can hear me coming or if they can avoid me, then that's good. But I'm going to hunt them. That's the whole meaning of the word hunt, is to get out there with them. Standing up in a tree is kind of like cheating. So, go figure. No, he stayed out till 1 a.m. after the boys went to sleep last night. But he got him a deer, so. By the way, you're not supposed to shoot deer after dark, so don't let him tell the game warden that. Yep, they saw a black panther also in the woods after they got the deer. The black panther was probably hunting the deer, too. Probably mad that they got his dinner. And heard it. And it bent down when the light shined its way. Scary. Then I had a neighbor in Kansas City who killed vast amounts of squirrels, neighborhood cats, etc. He shot my cat in the face and trapped it in a tree. That's terrible. That's a serial killer right there. That's not hunting, by the way. I totally understand why you would be against that behavior. That is not hunting. That we're on hunting grounds, our way past Rock Ridge. Okay. He held me off at gunpoint, but I worked for the KC Star and the Times, and I got a reporter who called the cops, and about 50 cops and animal control came out and saved the cat. Well, that's nice. I'm glad you were there for the cat. Incidentally, cats have paws and are not to be eaten. You don't eat things with paws. Sorry, I got a text. I don't know why people want to text me at 8:30 when they know I'm live. Cat was okay. Shot 3 times even. Wow. Then he threatened my girlfriend, and I lost it. I loaded up the Mossberg and pinned him in his yard with a .30 caliber shell. He had a BB gun. So he shot your cat with a BB gun? Is that what you're saying? That why the cat survived? But if he was threatening your girlfriend, you should have kneecapped him. Cops came up, knew I shot at him, but refused to arrest me and gave him hell. I'm done. Hot button issue. Bloodthirsty jackasses. Yeah. No, I agree with you. That ain't right. Yeah, the cat lived, April, according to what I just read. I don't want to presume anything, but I think that was the point. Anyway, I believe in hunting. I don't believe in terrorizing animals. That's a different thing. He would have disappeared if I wasn't a prime suspect. I hear you, brother. There's been a few people that have crossed my path that I felt that way strongly about and had to seriously consider my next move very, very carefully because my instinct was to go nuclear. And that has happened a couple times. Anytime my instincts tell me to go nuclear, it's probably the thing that should be done. But it ain't going to work out good in my favor should I go that route. Cat was shot 3 times. Amazing circumstances prevented serious injury. The cat lived a long life afterwards. I moved to Montana. Dun, dun, dun. Sounds like a episode of CSI. All right, boys and girls, it's time. We got 4 people. Let's get to work. Let's go down, shall we? If you got your Bibles handy, crack them open to the great book of Leviticus, chapter 16, verse 32. That's where we left off. That is where we'll pick up. Look at that. Let me move this a little bit. I don't know how that got there. That's better. All right. And it goes. And the priest, whom he shall anoint, and whom he shall consecrate to minister in the priest's office in his father's stead, shall make the atonement, and shall put on the linen clothes, even the holy garments. Remember the cummerbund and the poncho and the funny hat and all that good stuff. The priests have to wear that stuff when they do their work. And he shall make an atonement for the holy sanctuary, and he shall make an atonement for the tabernacle of the congregation, and for the altar, and he shall make an atonement for the priests, and for all the people of the congregation. That's a lot of atoning, but there was a lot of sinning going on, so it was kind of necessary. And this shall be an everlasting statute unto you, to make an atonement for the children of Israel, for all their sins once a year. And he did as the Lord commanded Moses. Now, again, as I stated last time we were together, this is God planning to do this forever, right? It don't work out that way, but it was definitely his intention for this to be the norm. This is where we're going to be. This is our tabernacle. You are our people. I'm your God, and this is the way we're going to do business from now on. Well, people had other things in mind, and it didn't work out that way, and God got mad, and one thing led to another, and, death and destruction and mayhem and chaos and repentance and begging for forgiveness and gnashing of teeth and weeping, and the whole story. But God definitely wanted it to be this way, because everything he's doing to this point is planning for this to be the thing from now on. He says it quite a few times. This will be a statute to you forever. Doesn't work out that way, but that's what he had in mind. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron, and unto his sons, and unto all the children of Israel, and say unto them, This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded, saying, What man soever there be of the house of Israel that killeth an ox or a lamb or a goat in the camp, or that killeth it out of the camp, and bringeth it not unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation to offer an offering unto the Lord before the tabernacle of the Lord, blood shall be imputed unto that man. What does that mean? He hath shed blood, and that man shall be cut off from among his people, because that blood is imputed unto him. In other words, it's considered a sin because he didn't offer it. He killed it, but he didn't eat it. You see what I'm saying? Kind of what we were talking about earlier. It's funny how that works, isn't it? This is God saying, if you kill this animal and do not offer it as a sacrifice, meaning you don't serve it up for supper, then that will be counted as a sin against you because you're not doing it right. And these animals are provided for your dinner, for your sustenance, for your offering to the Lord. That's their purpose. And if you don't use them for that purpose, you're doing it wrong. And it carries a punishment. To the end that the children of Israel may bring their sacrifices which they offer in the open field, even that they may bring them unto the Lord, unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, unto the priest, and offer them for a peace offering unto the Lord. That's what you do with it. When you kill an animal, you are to eat that animal. You are to respect that animal. You're to use that animal for its intended purpose, not to get a kick out of it, not to brag and get the biggest head or the biggest antlers. Those are not reasons to go hunting, not to have the biggest truck or the most dogs or whatever. And the priest shall sprinkle the blood upon the altar of the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and burn the fat for a sweet savor unto the Lord, because it smells delicious. That's why. And they shall no more offer their sacrifices unto devils, after whom they have gone a whoring. This shall be a statute forever unto them throughout their generations. Your days of worshiping false idols and devils are over. You now serve the Lord your God, and that's the way it's going to be. And this is the way you do a sacrifice. And if you do it a different way, I will hold it against you as a sin, because this is how it's to be done. And I am the only God you're going to be sacrificing to, says God. And they shall no more, I read that. And thou shalt say unto them, whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers which sojourn among you, that offereth a burnt offering or sacrifice, and bringeth it not unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation to offer it unto the Lord, even that man shall be cut off from among his people. This is twice he said this exact same phrase to emphasize it, because this is important. If you sacrifice an animal, it better be to God. You better not be sacrificing it to Baal or Molech or whoever, because those don't exist anymore. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, that eateth any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood. I will cut him off from among his people. You do not partake of the blood. Why? The blood is important. The blood is where the life is, and life is the purview of God. It is not the purview of man. You are not to partake of blood of any wise. When you kill an animal, you are to drain its blood and make sure that it's drained properly. Cut the head off and hang it upside down and let the blood drain out before you eat the meat. And then you wash the meat before you eat the meat. And then you cook it thoroughly. You are not to partake of blood. This is a very important fact in the Bible. Why? For the life of the flesh is in the blood. I'm sorry, I got cinnamon burning behind me and it's choking me at the moment. For the life of the flesh of the blood, the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls. That's what you use the blood for. You put it on the altar, sprinkle it the way God says to do so, to cover your sin, because blood is the only thing that covers sin. For it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul. That's what does it. It's not the meat. You eat the meat, but the blood covers the sin. So you're not to eat that. That's making a mockery of what its intention is, right? If that makes any sense. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, no soul of you shall eat blood, neither shall any stranger that sojourneth among you eat blood, period. Pretty simple. Don't do that. No vampires. Sorry, it's not cool. And whatsoever man there be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, which hunteth and catcheth any beast or fowl that may be eaten, he shall even pour out the blood thereof and cover it with dust. What do? You bury the innards. Well, you do that today. You either dig a hole and bury it, or you burn it. You don't just pour it out on the ground and disrespect it. The life is in the blood. And when you drain the blood out, you pour it somewhere and bury it so that it can go back to the dust, right? That seems common sense to me. I would never want to eat blood. I don't know why anybody would. But the simple fact is, when you kill an animal, you are to drain it. And that's part of the skinning process. So what you would do with it would be either dig a hole and bury it, and the fat and the caul and all that stuff, or you would burn it. Either way, it goes back to the dust. For it is the life of all flesh. The blood of it is for the life thereof. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, Ye shall eat the blood of no manner of flesh, for the life of all flesh is in the blood thereof. Whosoever eateth it shall be cut off. And every soul that eateth that which died of itself, if you come along and find a dead animal, you are not to eat that. No roadkill, Mississippi, I'm sorry. Or that which was torn with beasts. Why? Because beasts carry diseases, and if they bit each other, then they have diseases, which can be transmutable to humans. Whether it be one of your own country or a stranger, he shall both wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until evening. Then shall he be clean. Where did this come from, this idea of being dirty? Well, listen. If you come across an animal that died, you don't know what killed it. It may have died of old age. It may have died of some rampant disease, which some diseases can go between animals and humans. If you come across an animal that's been torn up by another animal, if the teeth were introduced or the claws, well, you know that they carry diseases. A lot of them do. Some animals have the filthiest mouth. A monitor lizard can scratch you and you will die within a couple of days if you don't seek medical attention, just from a scratch, because it has bacteria under its fingernails that will kill you, and in its saliva. A dog's bite has a lot of germs in it. Even though a dog licking you is said to be clean, but a dog's bite is said to be dirty because their teeth collect germs, and then it's transmitted to you by the bite. This is why you don't eat animals that are dead unless you killed it, unless you know how it died. And just to be safe, now it doesn't say it here, but it's definitely alluding to it, just to be safe of germs and of bacteria and of other things deadly, you wash your clothes and your body in water and stay away from people until evening because you're considered unclean. Why? Because you may have a disease on your hands and you may be passing it all around and not even be aware of it. Nutcases thinks it makes you younger, right? If you're doing that, you have bigger issues than aging. I agree. Yeah, there are some people that say that you get kind of high when you drink blood. Some people say it gives you the energy of the animal that it came from. Some people say it makes you younger. I don't buy into all that mess. And even if it's true, it's not intended for us to do that. That's not why God made blood. If he wanted us to do that, he'd give us a way to transfuse blood directly, like fangs. Like the kind that suck, not the kind that shoot venom. Like a vampire, which don't exist, so that's Mother Nature wishing that something was there that wasn't. Right? Think about that. Vampires have fangs, but they don't shoot venom. They suck blood. That's not what fangs do. They shoot. They don't suck. And at least I don't know of any that do. Do you? Does anybody know of a fang that sucks other than fictitious ones? Yep. Doc's made big issue about not sucking out rattlesnake poison from bites like in the movies, but only because of infectious risk. Well, here's the thing. You can suck the poison out, but if you happen to have a filling or a sore in your mouth, then that poison goes right into your bloodstream, and so does anything that's in that guy's blood. It's not a good thing to do. It's not a good practice. It's very unclean. It may save his life, but it may take yours. That being said, it can be done, but it's pretty impure to do it because of any number of things. Or if you happen to swallow. Stomach acid will destroy any swollen venom, swallowed venom, by the way. Yep, that may be so, but that venom will touch all the meat down your esophagus before it gets to your stomach acid. And should you have a sore throat or raw tonsils, that goes right into your bloodstream. Also, putting something under your tongue is a super fast delivery system to the bloodstream, which is why they put certain things under your tongue. So if you're sucking, there's no way to keep that venom from going under your tongue. It's not a good thing. The doctors are correct. You shouldn't do that. That being said, if your buddy's laying there dying, you might have no choice but to do that and risk it. But you're taking a risk. But if he wash them not, nor bathe his flesh, then he shall bear his iniquity. That means you'll get what's coming to you. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord your God. Period. Well, that's pretty evident, but make sure they know it. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt, shall ye not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall ye not do. Neither shall ye walk in their ordinances. What is he saying here? You know all that stuff you learned in Egypt? Yeah, don't do that. Don't do what? Any of it. Don't do any of it. Forget all those rituals and all those ideas. That's not who you are. Whatever you learned in Egypt, don't do that. Also, the land I'm taking you to, Canaan, they do some weird stuff there too, so don't pick any of that up. Don't follow any of their rules. Don't worship any of their gods. Don't pick up any of their bad habits. You are to be among yourself. Those people will soon be all gone, so don't even mix with them. Don't even talk to them. Just go in and do your thing, and soon they'll all be gone, because I'll get rid of them, says God. Ye shall do my judgments and keep mine ordinances to walk therein. I am the Lord your God, not some other God. Me. It's me. You do what I tell you to do, says God. Don't worry about what other gods say. Don't worry about what other religions teach. You do what I said do. That's why, on this channel at least, we are untethered. We do not belong to a denomination. Why? Because God didn't offer us one. He said, I am the Lord your God. You will do what I tell you to do, period. There is no denomination. There is no version of that fits what I like better than some other version. That's what God said do, and that's what we do. Bread is a good thing to have around. Sure it is. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him, to uncover their nakedness. I am the Lord. That means to have sex with them. Let me reread that so you'll hear it. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him. To who? To whoever they are. If they're related to you, you don't uncover their nakedness. In other words, don't sleep with your cousin. Don't sleep with your sister. Don't sleep with your mother. There is a point to where it's okay down the line, fourth or fifth cousin or whatever. But as long as they're closely related to you, near of kin, meaning that they're within 2 or 3 generations of you, don't sleep with them. Don't uncover their nakedness, which is a Hebrewism, which means to have sex with somebody. I am the Lord. The nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shalt thou not uncover. She is thy mother. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. This is talking about sexual things. Make sure you understand this. The nakedness of thy father's wife shalt thou not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness. What? That's how you know right there. Is your father's wife his body? No, but she does belong to him. So you see the play on words here? Your father's nakedness is your father's wife, or his nakedness. Don't sleep with him either. Don't sleep with his wife. She may not be your mother. She may be your mother-in-law, but don't sleep with her because she belongs to him. That's what's being said here. The nakedness of thy sister, the daughter of thy father, or the daughter of thy mother, whether she be born at home or born abroad, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover. You don't sleep with your sister, even if you've never met her, you don't sleep with her. Why? Because she shares your DNA and you're going to have retarded kids, that's why. The nakedness of thy son's daughter, or of thy daughter's daughter, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover, for theirs is thine own nakedness. Well, they are yours. So you'd be like sleeping with yourself. You'd be recycling DNA, which would really make bad kids. Don't believe me? Look at the royal family. Look at some of the jaw lines on them people. Woo. Somebody knew somebody. Look how close their eyes are together. Listen to them talk. The nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter, begotten to thy father, she is thy sister. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Now, obviously, this is talking about sex, but it goes a little bit further than just sex. It's anything sexual, right? It's doing anything sexual, including looking at them naked. So, thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sister. That's your aunt. She is thy father's near kinswoman. That's a near kin. That means she's within a generation of him. First, second, third cousins, out of business. Aunts, uncles, out of business. Grandfathers, grandmothers, nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, all out of business. You can't do that. You can sleep with people that are far related to you, but you can't sleep with anybody in the immediate family, what we would call the immediate family today. This was written 4,000 years ago, folks, and they knew that then. Why? They knew the results of what would happen when you did that then. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister, for she is thy mother's near kinswoman. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's brother. Thou shalt not approach to his wife. She is thine aunt. Amazing how it's spelled out so specifically again. Yeah, he does a lot of repeating because it's important that he drills it into your head. It's almost like he's beating you over the head with it sometimes because it's important. But he is getting downright specific. You're right. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter-in-law. She is thy son's wife. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Why? Because it's just rude. That's why. Yes, you could technically sleep with her because she isn't technically related to you. But why would you do that to your son? He's going to have hurt feelings about that. At the very least, you're going to put a wedge between you and him so that union cannot be blessed because it's nasty. Think about it like that. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter, neither shalt thou take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover their nakedness, for they are near kinswomen. It is wickedness. What does that mean? Don't sleep with a mother and her daughter at the same time. If you bang a chick, her daughter is off limits because they're related, and that's nasty. It's wicked. Brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, grandmas, grandpas, or any of the siblings' inner circle. That's right. Or any of their married, if they're married into the family, you don't do it. Neither shalt thou take a wife to her sister to vex her, to uncover her nakedness beside the other in her lifetime. So if you marry one sister, You don't take the other sister while she's alive because it will piss her off. That's what vex means. Thou shalt not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness as long as she is put apart for her uncleanness. Don't sleep with a woman while she's on her period or when she's pregnant. Moreover, thou shalt not lie carnally. What? Are we talking about having sex? Because it just spells it out. Lying carnally means to have sex. And that's moreover, that means to continue the conversation we've been having. Don't lie carnally with thy neighbor's wife to defile thyself with her, because she's your neighbor, and you should love thy neighbor as yourself, which makes your neighbor your kinsman. Got it? All this is about sex. Now, somebody asked me when I said that when Ham saw his father's nakedness, and then Abraham cursed Ham for doing so, and then his other brothers walked in the tent backwards and covered his father's nakedness. Somebody said, don't that mean that he got drunk and laid around naked and his son walked in and saw him naked? No, they're boys. They lived on a boat together for a year. They've seen each other naked. That's not the problem. The problem is Ham didn't have a wife when they got on the boat. And when they landed the boat, both other sons had children with their wives. And Ham was feeling randy. So he took his father's wife while he was drunk and passed out. He had sex with his stepmother. She might have been his actual mother, I don't know. It says his wife, so I'm thinking it was his stepmother. But still, that's a no-no. And that's why Abraham cursed him. And somebody asked me, well, how do you get that out of that? Because it says, uncover your father's nakedness. It don't say he slept with him. Here's the scripture that says that. This is where I get it from. So now you know. When I tell you things, trust me, it comes from somewhere. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Moloch. Neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord. What does that mean, profane the name of God? That means when in conjunction with seed, obviously, if you pass your children through the fires, or if you have an abortion, which is the same ritual, by the way, sacrificing a child to Moloch is the same ritual. If you do that, you are profaning the name of your father because he is God. If God blesses you with a child, you do not then take that child and give it to another God. That's bad. Now, to profane his name means to talk badly about the Father. I don't think it means to say GD, because I have a bad habit of saying that, and I've been trying to justify it all my life because words don't mean anything. I don't think that's what it means. I think the intent is what it means. I think if you go around telling people that God sent you to do something that he didn't send you to do, that's using the Lord's name in vain. If all those preachers that say, God spoke to me last night and he said, if you'll just send me $1,000, he'll know. That's using the Lord's name in vain. You can't do that. You never claim that God sent you to do something he didn't send you to do. Also, there is a scripture somewhere in the Bible that talks about talking perversely about or making fun of Jesus and God and the Holy Spirit. And one of those, if you make fun of them or if you mock them, that's a sin, bad sin. You'll be punished for that. And I believe it's Jesus. Says you can mock me all you want, but don't talk about my son. Something like that. I believe that's the way it goes. I'll find it and show it to you, but it's in there. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is an abomination. Let's do this. I want to look up this word abomination. Abomination, a thing that causes disgust or hatred. Something regarded with disgust or hatred, something abominable, considered war abominable, extreme disgust and hatred, loathing. So this is a very specific statement here. Do not have a homosexual relationship. It is hated and it's disgusting to God. That's what abomination means. He hates it. He uses the word hate about homosexuality. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as you would lie with a womankind. It's an abomination. Neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith. Neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down thereto. It is confusion. You know what confusion means. So, all those Mexicans down there doing the pony shows, those are bad, 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 bad. God don't like that. He compares homosexuality with bestiality in the same sentence. Why? Because they're both the same kind of sin. They're both an abomination to God. That's not what he built us to do. Yes, there are carnal desires that float around the world, and no, it is not a salvation issue. I think you can still be forgiven and go to heaven if you do those things. But know that you are doing a thing that God hates, that he never intended for you to do. The carnal desire comes from the devil, because the devil is the author of confusion, and here it uses the word confusion to describe these acts, along with abomination and wickedness. So you understand that Satan is the author of confusion. So if you have these desires, they come from Satan. They do not come from God. So that answers the question, and I've heard people ask it, well, if God never intended us to do it, why do animals do it? And why do we have the desire to do it sometimes? We're born that way. We can't help it. Yes, you can, because it's a choice. Regardless of whether you were born that way or not, it's still a choice. And you make it willingly. That being one thing. The second thing is that desire did not come from God. That's why you shouldn't do it. Thirdly, you know in your heart already that it's bad, which is why you feel guilty about it to start with. Which is why all of this stuff is going on, the pride parades and the people trying to force it down to kids and things like that. It's all manifestations of guilt. It's manifestations of wrongdoing. You know in your heart. Why do you know in your heart? Because the Bible says that the 10 Commandments are written on your heart. You know from birth. When you're a child and you steal a cookie and you get caught stealing that cookie and you feel shame for stealing that cookie. Nobody ever explained to you what theft was. Nobody ever explained to you the wrongness of it or the punishment for it or anything like that, because you're a baby and nobody has to tell you that. You know instinctively when you lie or when you steal, you have done something wrong. You know instinctively when you commit a homosexual act that it's wrong, which is why your first instinct is to hide it, always. There has never been anybody homosexual that came out swinging and proud of it. They may become proud of it and then use it as a crutch later on and show it to the world. Look at what I'm doing. But when they first start, I promise you they hide it because it's an instinct. You know better. That being said, it is not a salvation issue. You can ask for forgiveness and you can still go to heaven. God still loves you. You are still his creation. But don't mistake yourself into thinking that you're doing something right because you're not. Don't confuse those two issues. Yes, God still loves you. Yes, you can still go to heaven. Yes, he hates what you're doing. He hates the sin that you're committing. So just know that. Because the Bible tells us so, and we learn as we grow right from wrong. I'm saying you know right from wrong before you ever get here. I'm saying when you're born, it's innate. You know right from wrong to start with. You don't have to learn it. It's already there. There are degrees of right and wrong that you learn over time. But I assure you, the first time you ever tell a lie, nobody has ever explained to you the concept of lying. It just happens naturally, and you feel guilty naturally. Think about it. Think about when your kids started lying to you. Think about if you ever told them what a lie was before they did it. You didn't. Nobody ever taught them that. They just knew. They knew how to lie, and they knew that lying was wrong, which is why they denied it when you asked them for the truth. They swear up and down they're telling you the truth when you know good and well they're not. And then eventually they cave, and then they cry because they did something wrong, and they know it in their heart. And it's the same thing with all other sins too. Same thing with this sin. I'm just pointing out the clear differences in the ways of thinking. I am not judging anybody. Whatever you do is your business. I won't judge you either way. But know the difference, because it's clearly written. Defile not yourselves in any of these things. For in all these nations are defiled, which I cast out before you. All the people that are in Canaan and all the other places I'm going to send you, they're already defiled. They're already corrupted. They're already bad, and I will cast them out before you as you come in. Don't mix with them. Don't learn their behavior. Just let them go, because they will eventually be gone. And the land is defiled also. Therefore, I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it. And the land itself vomiteth out her inhabitants. Meaning the people that are there will soon be gone, because the land itself will get rid of them. It'll stop producing. I'm going to punish the land while you're getting there. That's another reason they spent 40 years getting there, because God was preparing the world for them when they got there to Canaan. And there was a period of time where Canaan didn't produce anything. Canaan is a very fertile part of the world, or it used to be. And there were giant grapes and things that grew there. It was called the land of milk and honey flowing, because it was so prosperous. And then there was a period of time it wouldn't produce anything. It was dead. And then the Israelites got there, and they brought it back to life over time, and it became twice as fertile as it was before, because God promised them the land of flowing milk and honey. And they got it. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, the ones we just read. Neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you. For all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled. All of these things we just read about, that's what they were doing in the land of Canaan, which is why God kicked them all out. Which is why he gave that land to the Israelites, who were basically clean in comparison to them. The land was dirty. It was desolate. It was defiled, much like America is right now. You look out across the land, you'll see evidence of defiling. The land is defiled. It is dirty right now. And he'll soon kick us out of it too if we don't straighten up. That the land spew not you out also when ye defile it, as it spewed out the nation that were before you. In other words, be careful you don't pick up any of their bad habits, or the land will spit you out also. It's going to spit them out and give you the land. But if you do the same thing they did, it'll spit you out too. That goes for everybody listening in this land it'll spit you out also. The world will eat you up and spit you out. It does not care about you in the slightest bit. If you defile it, if you ruin it, if you go against its nature, it will get rid of you eventually. For whosoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the souls that commit them, shall be cut off from among the people. Therefore shall ye keep mine ordinance, that ye commit not any one of these abominable customs, which were committed before you, and that ye defile not yourselves therein. I am the Lord your God. Don't do any one of these things we read about tonight. Not one of them. Because if you do, you will be defiling yourself. And when you are defiled, the land will not provide for you. If you want to be prosperous in this world, if you want to live in harmony, if you want things to come to you, good things, if you want the world to open up its flower and give you its treasures, then you have to do what God says do and walk in his statutes. You have to not do the bad stuff that are in this list and other lists that are in this Bible. If you can manage it, if you can live by walking righteously, by following the 10 Commandments, by following God's statutes and judgments, by not doing the things in this list and other lists that are in the Bible. And none of them are hard to not do, by the way. You have to actually put forth effort to do these things. They don't come natural. If you can manage to live that way, the world will provide for you everything you have need of. It will give you... Have you ever seen some people that look like they just fell into a pile of roses? Like everything they do just works? They do the same thing you do and you can't get a leg up. Meanwhile, they're making leaps and bounds towards the ceiling. Why? Because they live righteous lives and the world is providing for them. It's nothing to be jealous of. It's something to be proud of if they've managed it. It's either that or they sold their soul to the devil. One way or the other, the world is giving it to them, whether it be in a good way or in a bad way. The other is possible too, by the way. Although not the way you think it is. You can't actually sell your soul because it doesn't belong to you, but you can bargain it away. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, and say unto them, Ye shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. You want to be with me, then you got to act like me, says God. You want to be my children, then you got to be what I am. You got to take after your dad, walk in your dad's footsteps. I'm holy, so you must be holy too. How can you be holy, says the people. Well, it ain't easy. That's a fact. The more righteous you try to live, the harder the world's going to treat you for most cases, because it's hard to be righteous. And when you're righteous, other people will look down on you for it. They'll be mad at you because you think you're better than they are. Or they won't see you fail like they're failing. You have to get away from those people because they'll drag you down. Those are non-player characters, by the way. They don't have any say in anything. They live a life that's been pre-prescribed for them because they're not going to do anything to change their position. For now and yea, I think that the devil can. Jake, God gives us all dead ends so many times then. No, I don't think so. God will give you strong delusions if you ask for them. If you're bound and determined to see things a certain way, he'll allow you to see it that way. And the Bible does say that he will give you strong delusions, but that's not necessarily a dead end. I think most dead ends are caused by the devil trying to get in your way. We fall, then he picks us up, correct. We fall again, and he always picks us up. But it's our choices that make us fall. That's right. You have a choice before you always. And whatever choice you make determines the outcome of what occurs. And most of the time, it's your own fault. I'm not saying that there aren't things that happen that you have no control over. There are, but the world is the devil's. It always has been. So the world ain't never going to be kind to you. It's never going to be good to you unless you live righteously, and then God will take over and his grace will be kind to you. But the world itself, without God in it, no, it'll never be good to you. It'll always be hard. It'll always be a sacrifice. It'll always be painful. It'll always leave you desolate and ashamed. That's what you meant. Yeah, I got you. I understand what you were trying to say. And you're right. Ye shall fear every man his mother and his father, and keep my Sabbaths. I am the Lord your God. This word fear means reverence, not terror. And this is very important because you should revere your mother and father. Honor your mother and father, and you'll have a long life. Doesn't mean you got to listen to them if they're morons, but you must honor your mother and father. Turn ye not unto idols, nor make to yourselves molten gods. I am the Lord your God. You don't need little images. You don't need little statues. You don't need false idols. I am the Lord your God. That's enough, says God. And if ye offer a sacrifice of peace offerings unto the Lord, ye shall offer it at your own will. It's not something I'm forcing you to do. It needs to come from your heart. Well, what's a peace offering? Well, in this case, it's talking about an animal being sacrificed to the Lord. But there are lots of peace offerings. Lots of ways. It shall be eaten the same day ye offer it. And on the morrow, if any remains until the third day, it shall be burnt with the fire. Why? Because it's not good. That sacrifice needs to be eaten the day you cook it, because it is a sacrifice to the Lord, and that act is holy, and it needs to be done in the moment. If you have leftovers, it no longer means anything, and then therefore it's not good. So you burn it with fire. You don't keep leftovers. Also, they didn't have refrigerators, so it probably goes bad very quickly. If it be eaten at all on the third day, it is abominable. God doesn't like it. He hates it. It shall not be accepted. In other words, he will not accept the third day leftover as a sacrifice to him. He wants it fresh off the grill today. He don't want your leftovers. He don't want your third day leftovers. He wants fresh, good meat every time you sacrifice. That's why. Therefore, everyone that eateth it shall bear his iniquity, or you'll get what's coming to you, because he hath profaned the hallowed thing of the Lord, and that soul shall be cut off from among his people. And when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not wholly reap the corners of thy field, neither shalt thou gather the gleanings of thy harvest. What does that mean? When you pick the harvest, you planted this big field, right? And you have all this grain or whatever it is you're growing. When you pick that field, you leave the corners, the edges of the field. You pick everything in the middle and everything up on either side, but you leave the corners for the poor, because people may need to eat, and you'll leave that little edge for the people. And also, whatever falls on the ground when you're picking it up, don't come back and pick it clean. Let the stuff on the ground stay on the ground, like potatoes. You ever gone out to a potato field and picked up some potatoes? That's why they're left there, because the Bible tells you to do that so that everybody gets to eat. You get to be rich because you have a field. You get to sell your wares to the world, and it also provides food for your community, because they will come out and pick over the leftovers once you've done your harvest. So you are to be thorough, but not too thorough. Leave a little bit for the people. You can apply this to anything in your life. When you make money, take the most of it. Leave a little bit for the people or for the person, or tithing or something to that effect. You can apply it to love. You can apply it to work. You can apply it to almost anything in your life. Leave a little bit for the people so that everybody can partake of your good nature, of your prosperousness. That is, after all, why God gave you the prosperity, so that you could share it. I suppose any kind of jerky goes against the time restrictions. Well, no, not if you're not offering it as a sacrifice to the Lord. Jerky, the whole act of making jerky, is to preserve the meat for a while so that you can eat on it for a long time. If you're not using that as a peace offering or a sin offering, then it's fine. You can do that. If it is a peace offering or a sin offering, though, it needs to be fresh, killed that day, and eaten that day. I like the way you think, says April. I think that's what that means. Screenshot. I guess I'm maintaining so far this winter by some evidence. You are that. Oh, that's right. Then it belongs to the people, jerky and preserved meats. Yes. And if you have a prosperous field that grows a lot, and when you pick the harvest, leave the edges. And the gleaning, that means what falls out of your bag and onto the ground, or what is laying on the ground when the combine comes through, whatever's laying there, leave it so that the people can come get what they need and feed their families. That's the poor people. That's how you survive, and that's why we have homeless people in the world today that are starving to death, because people aren't doing it this way. They're not leaving any for the people. They're getting it all. They're getting every penny they can get out of it. That's called greed, and it don't go anywhere good. And thou shalt not glean the vineyard, neither shalt thou gather every grape of the vineyard. Thou shalt leave them for the poor and the stranger. I am the Lord your God. When you pick your grapevine, leave the edges so that people can come and eat. And they will. They'll find you out. They'll know your field is there. They won't bother it while you're growing it. But after you've pulled in your harvest, they will come and take what's left over and feed their families. And that's only fair. The ground gave you all this food for free. The least you could do is leave the edges for the poor people. I think that's fair. That's hardly relevant here. I hope it isn't. I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about, but I assume you're correct. Ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie one to another. Tell the truth, be honest, and make a fair deal. Don't try to sell something 3 times what it's worth. Sell it for what it's worth. Make a fair deal. And ye shall not swear by my name falsely, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord. You shouldn't swear at all. But if you swear, you make damn sure you keep your promise. Because if you use the Lord's name to make a swear, it counts. So don't do it falsely. I would suggest not ever doing it at all. Don't swear by the Lord for any reason. But should you have to make a valid point and you say, I swear to God, you better damn well mean it and be right. And don't profane the name of the Lord. He is God. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until morning. That means if you hire somebody to do a job, at the end of the day, you pay him immediately. You do not hold his wages all night long while he's out there starving to death, wanting his money. You give him what you hired him for immediately. Thou shalt not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but shalt fear thy God. I am the Lord. Don't pick on people that have handicaps, like deafness or blindness, because it could be you. They have a misfortune, and you should do everything in your power to help them, not pick on them or use them for your entertainment. In this case, you should fear the Lord, and that is terror, not reverence, because he will get your ass for doing things like that. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty, but in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor. Judge fairly. Don't pick favorites. Don't pick somebody because of their status. Judge by meritocracy. If the man is good at his job, you pay him good for his job. If the man is fair and honest, then you treat him fair and honest. If the man's a crook, then you treat him accordingly. Don't pick favorites. Don't be a kingmaker. Don't pick the winners. Pick according to meritocracy. That's what this statement means. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people. Don't go gossiping and telling a bunch of stories. Neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord. In other words, don't pick a fight with your neighbor to the bloodshed. Keep the peace and don't be a gossiper. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. Don't hate your brother. If you have a problem, solve it. If you and your neighbor have a dispute, go out there and fix it. Work it out. Do whatever it takes to get over it. Don't leave it lingering. Don't go to bed angry. Don't hold a grudge, or you're suffering sin. Thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. You put it in God's hands if you have vengeance. Don't bear a grudge against the children of your people. Love your neighbor as yourself. If you truly love your neighbor as yourself, you will not break any of these commandments, which are being labeled to you as we speak. These are the commandments of God. ATL, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Thou shalt keep my statutes. Thou shalt not let thy cattle gender with a diverse kind. That means don't breed your cattle with a different kind of cattle. Keep your cattle in the same lineage that they came from. This is basically saying stay within your own kind and keep your animals within their own kind. Because if the gene pool gets too thin, then there is no purebred anymore. And purebred is what you want. If you don't protect your tribe disappears and gets bred out, and then it no longer exists. Thou shalt not sow thy field with mingled seed, neither shall a garment mingled of linen and woolen come upon thee. What? Well, these are Israelites. They are to be a peculiar people, set apart from other people. They have a lot of rules that we don't have as Gentiles. This is one of them. They're not to wear mingled linens, not cotton and wool together. Why? Because it's weird. Because God has a fashion sense, I'm guessing. But mingled seed means don't put different kinds of seed in the same garden. You don't plant your potatoes and your collards in the same row because it'll mess up because they need certain nutrients to grow for that particular plant. And if you mingle up the seeds, you're going to get all kinds of weird crossbreedings, and it's not going to be good to eat, and it's not going to produce very well. So there you go. It is interesting, but it's also for the Jews. It's not for everybody. ATL. Sorry, typo. I meant hello. Welcome. Oh, hello. ATL. How are you, GDC? Are you speaking Klingon over there? You don't want your body to breathe differently or to have a deal with a cooling system. That may be it. It may just be weird. It may look funky. Maybe God just don't like it. I don't know. But he said it for them. But he wanted them to stand apart from everybody else anyway. He wanted you to be able to look and recognize a Jew when you see one. How do you do that? Because they're dressed a certain way. They act a certain way. They move a certain way. They follow certain rules. I guess. I don't know. And whosoever lieth carnally with a woman that is a bondmaid, betrothed to an husband, and not at all redeemed, nor freedom given her, she shall be scourged. They shall not be put to death because she was not free. All right, this means that if she has sex with you, but she's already promised to another man, she's a whore, but she's not to be put to death because she isn't free and it isn't her choice. You made her do it. So you just whip her and go on about your business. But you're the bad guy in this scenario, and you shouldn't do it. Don't sleep with another man's wife. Don't rub another man's rhubarb, if you know what I'm saying. And he shall bring his trespass offering unto the Lord, unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, even a ram for a trespass offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him with the ram of the trespass offering before the Lord for his sin which he hath done, and the sin which he hath done shall be forgiven him. That's the man who just slept with the woman who wasn't free. And he has to make an atonement for that. He can't get away with it. If he doesn't make an atonement, he doesn't get forgiven. See? And a ram is expensive, so it's going to cost you a little. But I would say he probably should be scourged also. Not just a woman, but they looked at it differently back then. What can I say? And the priest shall, I read that. And when ye shall come into the land, and shall have planted all manner of trees for food, then ye shall count the fruit thereof as uncircumcised. 3 years shall it be as uncircumcised unto you, it shall not be eaten of. That's the land repairing itself. Remember I told you it wouldn't yield because it was corrupted? 3 years they were not allowed to eat any of the fruit. So that there was 3 years of planting going on, and trees growing, and the fruit falling on the ground and not being eaten. But in that 3 years, the land became twice as fertile as it was before because they weren't eating from the fruit. The fruit was reproducing. A fruit is a seed. So when it falls off, it grows another tree. You see what happens? So that's for 3 years that was going on. They weren't allowed to eat any of the tree fruit that they planted. And then when they did the harvest on the 3rd year, it was bountiful because there was fruit trees everywhere and they were full of fruit. Basic farming techniques, yes. But in the 4th year, all the fruit thereof shall be holy to praise the Lord withal. And in the 5th year, that's 5 years, they didn't get to eat any of that fruit. The 4th year, they could use it as a sacrifice or as an offering. But in the 5th year ye shall eat of the fruit thereof, that it may yield unto you the increase thereof. I am the Lord your God. And that's where we're going to stop for today, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. We'll pick up next Sunday on 1926. What a fantastic read that was tonight. I hope that it was very enlightening. I hope you learned quite a lot. I hope that it tickled your fancy, and I hope you got something out of it, and I hope it caused you to think a little bit and process the world that we live in now. Won't you do me a favor while you're pondering and hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I'm going to be online. Smash that like button. It's free. It's right in front of you. It takes no effort at all, and it really does help the channel with the algorithm. Helps us get recommended to other people, so won't you do that? Share this video with somebody you love. Better yet, share it with somebody you don't love. Bring them into the family. Make them part of the fold. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave comments down below. Let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform with me, drink my Kool-Aid. Make your own Kool-Aid as long as you're thinking critical. That's what I want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you love the Word of God and you can see the value in what I'm trying to build here and you'd like to be part of that, you'd like to do something special, or if you feel led by God to send your tithes, offerings, or love offerings to the place where you're taught, or if you just like to pat me on the back and say, hey, nice job, Jake, here's a cup of coffee on me, you can do that. You can support my work by going to paypal.me/jakejohnsonband. Or if you're a CashApp user, you can go to $JakeJohnsonBand. Every little bit helps. It's a win-win. It's a blessing to me. It's a blessing to you too, because God notices these things. We do live in a reciprocal universe. You know, ask and ye shall be answered. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. Give and ye shall receive. That's the world we live in. But you have to initiate. So won't you do that? Consider helping out a brother. I will now do everything in my power to be worthy of that support and your confidence and answer all your questions and comments as I round out this video. Go. It's all you. Okay, hit that like. I like to move it. I like to move it. Yeah, of course. I love it, Jake. Thank you, dear. I love you too. That's why we rotate fields, is basic farming techniques. Yes, it is, and that is why. It's not heaven just not to be part of the earth, again, to be natural. Yeah. Okay, questions, comments, criticisms, catharses? Anything else that starts with a C? Or the letter M? This episode is brought to you today by the letter M and the number 4 in this hot cup of coffee, which is no longer hot. Bravo tonight, Jake. Much love. Thank you, dear. I love you too. And bravo to you. Excellent cheerleading. Excellent moderation. All things in moderation, even my moderators, huh? MVTV, are you still here? I think he's in the background somewhere there. ATL, how was your Christmas, buddy? Did you have a good one? I hope so. I hope you're staying warm, too. Fab Daddy. M4 is great. I don't know what M4 is, but I like your enthusiasm. And welcome to the show. Late, but always here. There's MVTV's lurking in the background. Lurking. That's kind of scary. I like it. I recently started watching Ozark, which is a new show. It's been out for a while, but M and the letter M and the number 4 are my favorite numbers and letters. Yes, I got you. M4, now I understand. It is great. That went right over my head, Fab Daddy. I just missed it altogether. I got it now, though. I've been here since the start. Well, good. I hope you learned something. Hey, Caucasian, good to see you, buddy. Welcome. Staying warm down there in GA? I hope all is well with everybody. Fat Daddy, hello, love. Good to see you, says April. Done messed around and dropped my cigarette on the floor. Caucasian says, it's fine now. Good. I'm glad you're fine. I'm freezing. It's cold up here. Fab Daddy, April, Jake, greetings and salutations. Hello, Sasquatch. Glad you dropped by. I went looking for you last night after I got done with my. When was it? It wasn't last night. It was night before last. When I went to my sister's house, you said you'd be on when I got done. I went looking for you. I didn't see you. Hi, Caucasian Sasquatch, says Fab Daddy. Lurking with the googly eyes. I lurk sometimes, I understand. I was live for 6 hours that day. Well, I just missed you. I'm sorry. I tried to get back in time to go live with you, but I was tired when I got home, and I looked and didn't see you, so I went on to bed. I did a little last night. Wasn't before people showed up. I think altogether about 24 people watched it, but it was after I did it. They weren't there while I was live. But it was a last-minute decision. I started to not do it, but then I thought, well, there might be somebody out there that don't have a family to be with, or somebody that wants to be with a friend or something, or maybe that dinner's over and there's no good football game on, and maybe they just want to hang out. So I figured I better go and show up anyway, so I did. And it was good. Depressed chat. Huh? April says, MVTV, are you staying warm, hun? Caucasian says, it happens, no sweat. I hear you. I didn't want to share. Didn't want to burn out the chat, says Fab Daddy. Or bum out the chat. No, you would not bum out the chat. But I'm glad you were here. Depressed chat. What do you mean? ATL is in the house too, says April. Oh, yes. It's warmer than usual now. It's almost 50 degrees, says MVTV. I had a friend pass away. I'm sorry to hear that, Fab Daddy. God bless you and be with his family or her. I'm sorry to hear that. If you want to talk, I'm here. It's a hell of a time for that to happen, too, on Christmas. Sorry. But I'm here, and so is everybody else. To reach out if you need somebody. ATL, are you still with us? I think he dipped out. That's all right. He stopped in and said hello. That's good. Thanks, guys. It's okay. I do understand. I've had the misfortune of losing friends also. I do know what that's like. OMG, my condolences, love. Much love and praying for you, says April. Well, whether you believe in it or not, know that all people that pass from this realm are in a much better place when they get where they're going than they were when they left. Much better in every metric, in every way. Every way measurable, every way not measurable. No more questions. I never ask any questions. Or is that a question itself? Are there no more questions? Punctuation. Anyway, it's been a rather good night. I'm glad that you guys have stuck out, and I had fun reading the chat, and I had fun reading the Bible also. It was a good read tonight. Very interesting all the way through. I at least got time with them in memories. That's more than a lot of people get, so I just didn't want to ask. What are we talking about asking? I'm afraid I'm not following. Memories are a beautiful thing to have. They last a lifetime, and they capture only the good stuff. It's hard to remember bad stuff. And it's precious, son. Yeah, it is. And I'm glad you had time with your friend. There's so little of that in this world these days. Everything's moving so fast. Everything is so at full tilt to get to wherever it's going. It's hard to carve out time. And time is a precious thing that we have less and less of every year. So it's a good thing that we make time for each other and that we're there when it counts and that we show up. Showing up is the most important thing you can do in this world, because no matter whether you're capable of doing the task at hand or not, whether you're fully prepared for the circumstance in front of you or not, whether you have all the answers to the questions that are laid out or not, showing up is 90% of the battle. Showing up, you've already done all the hard work just by being there. And the rest is trivial. The rest is consequential. I was late because I was a guest on Captain Curmudgeon. We watched boxing on Boxing Day. Cool. Well, I'm glad you were a guest on somebody else's show. Glad you got some time. I'm glad you enjoyed watching boxing, and I'm glad you showed up here. Late or not, you showed up. That's what's important. All right, boys and girls, it's 13 past, and I got to work tomorrow, so I'm going to go to bed. If you have any questions or comments, now's the time, because I'm about to pack her in. I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Thank you so much for being here and being such a great conversation and being so interested and so interesting. I'm grateful to have each and every one of you in my corner every single time I show up. You show up, and that's a wonderful thing, and thank you for that. I am grateful. You got a heating pad for Christmas, and I'm toasty warm. That's lovely. Did April get a cigarette roller? No, she did not. But she will. I'm working on it. I love you all so much, says April. Me too. I'm grateful for each and every one of you, and thank you. Thank you for all of this. Could not do it without you. No, you didn't get one, but you're getting one. It's coming. It just had to be a little late. You told me too late that that's what you wanted, but shipping being the way it is right now, things are not moving very rapidly, so it'll get there when it gets there is all I can tell you. Anyway, I'll see you guys on Wednesday. We'll cut loose and do something fun, play some music. We might pick apart some videos or something. We'll do something. If you have any ideas of what you want to do, you can let me know beforehand. You can email me right here at UntetheredLivestream@gmail.com. That's UntetheredLivestream@gmail.com. Send me a letter and let me know what you're thinking about, and I will make it happen, because this is your show as much as it is mine. especially on Wednesday and Friday, where I am open for suggestions. Anyway, have a great night. Won't you do me a favor when you go out into the world tomorrow? Be kind to someone. Just make an effort to be nice to somebody. Doesn't matter who, doesn't matter what, doesn't matter where. Just be nice. And I promise you, it will make life better for everybody. Promise it will. Prove me wrong. Go out and do it and see it work. I will now bid you all adieu, because I got things to do, like go to sleep. I love you. I cherish each and every one of you. I love you true from the bottom of my heart, I do. And I can't wait until the next time we get together. I'm on pins and needles. So thank you so much for being you. Thank you so much for being interesting. And most of all, thank you for...